Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to my guest co-host, Stacy Mulligan. So glad you're here, Stacy. We're just kind of doing this on the fly. I'm Teresa Lisum, and I am a Gallup Strengths specialist, I will call myself. I help people with finding their strengths. And Stacy is a DISC consultant, a DISC consultant. And we thought it'd be fun to show and highlight either both of them and how they pretty much are very similar, but yet it's just whatever people are gravitating towards. So we're just going to go see what happens. So
Yes,
welcome,
we are.
Stacy. Thank you
We're
so much.
we're flying by the seat of our
We
pants today.
certainly are. So I really don't know a whole lot about DISC. So I'm going to invite you to start first and share a little bit about what it
Okay.
stands for and the basic concept behind it, if you would,
Okay.
please.
Yes, so DISC has been around for a very long time. I learned about it about 17 years ago, which is what
Mm,
actually opened my eyes to how I was behaving. So DISC is a behavioral assessment, meaning how are you behaving in certain situations? And of course, this is all linked to how you're instinctually driven, but they're using it in a behavior. So I am actually certified through the John Maxwell program. And of course, John Maxwell is all about growth, right? Personal
right.
development. So the DISC
Hmm.
test and report used to be a little dot on a piece of paper between the D, I, S, and C. And now it's 30 pages through the Maxwell program.
Wow.
So, yes, so a little bit more than it used to be. But DISC is basically a personality assessment. And again, it's how you're behaving in situations, your instinctual behavior. The D, each letter, of course, stands for something. So the D is more of a dominant person, the get it done,
Mm,
the
hmm.
no nonsense, don't give me details, just do it. The I is the fly by the seat of your pants. Hey, let's do this thing right now. Oh, hey, that's a good idea. Let's try that. Right? They're very I'm an I. So they're
Of
very
course you are.
they tend to be influential. They're tend to be the life of the party.
Hmm.
They're not afraid to do things, but they change their mind really quickly. And then the S's are our wonderful support system. They are so supportive. They're the friends that say, "How could I do serve you today? You know, what can I do to make your life easier?" And they talk quieter and they're more about the relationships and the people.
Hmm.
They have a lot of systems in them where they need a system to, to follow, but yet they're excellent listeners. Some of my best friends are S's, thank God, because I don't usually stop talking. And then and we'll move on to C's, which are very conscientious people. I can never say that word; it gets stuck on my tongue. So they're all about the details. They're
Mm,
less on the relationship side, but more about the tasks. You think
mhm.
about somebody, and this is, going to be a huge exaggeration, but if you think about Sheldon from The Big Bang Theory, he's all about the facts, right? He could care less about people and relationships, but he wants to tell you what's right and how you're wrong. But the
Mhm.
C's are great because they're so full of details and they help people like me get the process going, do the details, right? They're excellent with numbers and accounting because it's black and white. And they don't have to deal with people as much because they're
Mm.
just not driven that way. So that's a quick synopsis. I'm sure you've seen these people in your life, and if you're the opposite, so it goes in a quadrant, and so it goes D. I don't know which way I'm facing, but we'll go like this. So it's D, I, S, and then C. So
Okay.
C and I are opposite. Makes sense, right?
Mm.
I's are like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, let's do this. Okay,
Yeah,
I have no
yeah.
idea how. And the C's are like, okay, we're gonna need a spreadsheet and I'll put out a graph and then we'll log this on this day. And the I's like, yeah, that's great. And then the D's and the S's, now they're opposite. And you can tell because the S's are like, hey, how can I support you? And the D's are like, just get the job done. And they're like, oh, why are you so mean? And the D's are like, I'm not mean. I'm just get it done. right? Get it
Mm-hmm.
done. And they're not interested in all that. So they tend to be the opposite. And you're either getting your feelings hurt by the opposite or you're going, what? How can you even think that? Of the other one. So
Isn't
that's
it, it's cool though, and thank you for that. Because I didn't understand that, but it's cool that it allows you to understand that other people either are S's or C's or D's or whatever. And so they're thinking differently, they're showing up differently, and that's okay because we are all different. We're meant to be different. And I think both of our modalities, our practices, our systems kind of highlight that. It has given me permission to accept other people to show
right,
up as they want to show up or as
right.
they're wired to show up.
And
Um,
understand that people aren't mind readers.
right.
Because again, I know you made a post a while ago that talked about how you just expected everyone to show up the same way you show up, and we all do
Hmm.
that.
Yep.
But
Yep.
having either the Gallup strengths, is that what it's called? The,
Uh-huh.
the
Yep.
strengths test, either having that in your arsenal or having the disc test allows you to know you, know yourself,
Hmm.
and then understand that not everybody is you. Actually, only 11% of the population is an I.
Oh.
But you probably wouldn't know that because we're loud.
And they're your dominant in your
We're
face
dominant, yeah.
personalities. Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
very
And
much
as
in your face, yeah.
you're talking, I'm thinking of other domains that show up in the Gallup strengths assessment
Hmm.
and some of the strengths. So like I'm thinking of S's as relationship builders,
Correct.
people who want to connect and they're energized by that connection with others.
Right.
They could be quiet, they could not be, but that just popped up for me.
Hmm.
And I think the D is the person, the action taker, right? Like
Yep.
taking, get her done. That's
Yep.
like activator. That's a strength called activator. Get it
Okay.
done, act on it, get permission and forgiveness later. Well, we just want to do it.
That's exactly it, right? So they're called the activator in yours. So you have how many different sections or categories does the Gallup strength have?
Well, ours it seems to be a little bit more detailed or nuanced, we'll say. We
Okay.
do have the four domains. We have strategic thinking, which people are all about being in your head and thinking and planning and processing. So a lot of things take place within their head, which could be, picked up from somebody else's, oh, they don't get anything done. Well, they're getting a lot done in their head.
Right.
And then we have a relationship building category, like I already shared, somebody who really wants and needs that connection with other people, the right people.
Hmm.
And we have executor, which when you were talking about your C person, I thought about executor domain, executing, the person who has systems and processes and likes routine. And like you said, data driven, analytical type of a person. But I know one friend that I'm thinking of, she is a dominant executor, and she needs to have things in place in order for her thinking to flow properly.
Right.
And when it's not in place, she's like really thrown off.
Right.
So, and then our fourth category domain is influencing. A person who loves to move people from point A to point B. They can see all the steps in between and how to get them there.
Okay. Okay. So it is similar. It's very much a mirror, if you will. And
Hmm.
which I didn't say before, and obviously the same with yours, is that you're not just in one category. You
Correct.
you are
Correct.
one and two, maybe a third. We
Right.
all have all four in us because
Right.
we're not, the example of Sheldon Cooper, he's full on C. He's in that category. If you were going to have somebody in one category, that's where he would be. But the rest of us, because of course he's a fake character,
Right.
we all have bits and pieces. I mean,
Yes.
I love an Excel spreadsheet. I don't want to spend my day in an Excel spreadsheet, but I like to have one. I've got a few right now. So you know, we pick pieces out of each one
Right,
and become
right.
who we are. It's just a matter of where do we live most of our
Correct,
life,
correct.
you
And
know?
like I like to say, what energizes you? Where are
Right.
you most energized? This Clifton Strengths Assessment spews out their results in a list of 34. So there's actually
Okay.
34 strengths that they've determined after much, 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 much research of,
Yeah.
thousands and thousands and thousands of people. And I focus on the top 10. I like to call that your zone of genius. So, like I said, I referred to activator, which is a strength, but it falls into a particular domain. So, we have these individual strengths that I've learned how to group into a domain, which is more of a broad overview and picture. But just with both of these, with the disc and with the Gallup Strengths Assessment, like I said, I it's just a good way of speaking. It's a vocabulary that we can use to help other people understand what we're all about and to help us ourselves understand what we're all about.
Absolutely. I mean, I learned so much when I first came into contact with DISC. I mean, my mind was blown.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, this is why not everybody gets me. It's
Right,
not
right.
because I'm an outcast.
Exactly.
It's because I'm too much, but not in a
Mm,
bad way. It's just that
mm-hmm.
I'm too much. And I actually had a client of mine who also wound up feeling that way, where she found out she was a high I, they call it, where you are, wherever you're highest in. She was a high I, and she said, I was so happy to find out that only
Mm-hmm.
11% of the people were an I and that it wasn't me.
Yeah, yeah,
Wasn't
yeah.
me. And it changed her because she
Mm-hmm.
had that information. And I think it is really important to know. I wish we could all walk around with like our little
Yeah.
sign on our
Yep,
forehead that
yep,
says what
yep.
we are, so that you know how to approach that person, because sometimes it's hard to decipher when you're just meeting up with someone, to decide, because we all act differently in public. We're putting on our mask. That's one of the things
Mm-hmm.
that the Maxwell Disc report shows you, is how you think you're supposed to behave in public, not just how
Oh,
you behave, right? And then there's one that says how you act under stress, and then how you think you act.
oh,
You are. So
interesting.
you're actually getting three different assessments through different letterings. And if your letterings are off, like if you're a high D in public, but in your stress zone, your D is below the line, then you're acting. You're playing the part of whatever
Oh,
it is. So yeah, either of your position in your household or your position at your job. And when you do that, of course, we all know what happens when we try to be someone we're not.
yes,
That's
yes.
exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think what I like about it is that it does show your strengths and weaknesses, in the disc personality, but I love that yours is basically a list of strengths to
Mm-hmm.
use, because I think a lot of times we think about our weaknesses rather than what is the opposite of that, and that's a strength for us. Maybe I talk too much and that's a weakness, but the reality is I can talk to anyone and that's a strength. But you know what I mean? You don't look at it that way when you're looking at yourself. You go, oh, I
Right,
when do
right.
I never shut up, or
And you might
whatever.
have had people tell you that,
Right,
um, in your life, like, oh, just stop talking. Oh my gosh. Like, so you were getting
right,
messages that were
right,
like squelching
yeah,
your natural tendencies, which is
yeah,
what happens to all of us.
right. Well,
Which,
and another thing is, even in your strengths test, is that when if you have somebody in a job that is utilizing, let's say, all their weaknesses, meaning,
yes, yeah,
okay, AKA a weakness is something that you don't enjoy doing and you're not good at.
correct, correct.
So now you're in this position where you're having to do all these things that you despise and that, maybe kill your soul. I
Mm-hmm,
mean, let's
mm-hmm.
not to be over dramatic, but If somebody said to me, "Hey, you're gonna work 9 to 5 in an accounting office and add up numbers all day," I'd be like, "Just kill me now. Like, please don't make me do that." It's not that I can't.
Yeah.
It's just I don't want to.
Yeah.
Side note, I have a degree in accounting and marketing, so but I don't want to do that
Uh-huh.
because that's not where my strengths lie. So I think when
Right.
we find out where our strengths lie, it really helps us figure out so many things.
Oh my gosh, yes. It's just so empowering.
Hmm.
And I've seen so many people whose lives have changed from this self-knowledge, this self-awareness, understanding why they talk too much or why they don't talk or why they want to
Right.
spend time reading books and learning or why they,
Right.
instead of thinking something's wrong,
Hmm. Yeah.
it's, oh
Yeah.
no, really, something's right.
Exactly. Yeah. Something is right. And
You can tell that to other people. No, this is what energizes me,
hmm
and I can contribute in any way to any situation based on what energizes me
hmm
and where I'm my
right.
best.
And people aren't saying yes. Like, let's say somebody asked you to be on the board of directors. Okay, great. But if they asked you to be the recording secretary and you're not the detail-oriented person that
Right.
enjoys writing that, this is the true story, you're not going to like that job.
Right.
Right. I was asked to fill in. So I was an interim recording secretary. And I was like, when is this going to be over? I, it doesn't energize me.
Right. Right. And you
So
could have been very good at it and very skilled,
I was good.
but
I did
yes, but
things, but I did not like it.
right.
I
And I
actually dread it.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about that a lot in terms of people stepping into a job or being into a role in a job where they're just not happy. They're just stressed. They're overwhelmed. And I'm thinking, is it because, like you just said, they're not fitting there properly based on their strengths.
Right.
They're doing something that they're good at, but it's not energizing to them.
Mm,
So I'm wondering if people are stuck in these jobs and stress because they're not aligned with
right.
who they are and what they like to do and what brings them joy and what,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And not only I think is it beneficial to an individual to take either of the tests,
Hmm.
but for their family members
Oh
or
yeah. Yep.
their partner at their, in their business or something. I just did a video about how it's so important to maybe take these types of tests within a group. If you're on a board of
Yep.
directors or
Yep.
if you are in a mastermind, our mastermind,
Hmm.
they each took the test last year, and it makes it changes everything because you
Yeah.
can say, oh, that person's a D, let me give them the answers like this. uh,
Hmm.
okay, this person's an S, they might not speak up, we might have to make them
Right. Right.
shout out an answer or just, in the brainstorming session. But I feel like it gives you this cohesive, I don't know, I like it. It's like the inside information. It's like
Yeah.
people's
Yeah.
heads.
Yeah,
What is
exactly,
that?
exactly. And I know a couple businesses personally from the past where they took the strengths assessment and they just took their top five, which is what Gallup offers. You have the option of five, getting five of your top results or opening all of them. And I'm
Okay,
going to recommend opening them all because we
of
could see more of
course.
a pattern. But putting those top five actually on their desks. So
Mhm.
as people walk into their office, there's their
Yeah,
top five. So that gives that person coming in who understands the concept some idea of, like you said, who they are, why they think the way they do, and how they can communicate with that person.
absolutely.
And like you said, if
Absolutely.
everybody in a group has that knowledge,
Mhm.
because sometimes we just don't share with others what's going on in our head. And then we
Right.
get mad with other people when they're not understanding. And then everybody gets triggered. So, like you said, it's like a ripple effect out into our relationships and the people we interact with.
Right. Right.
So in a family dynamic, especially, man, all of my family has their strengths reports. I know each of them. I can understand why a particular daughter is doing something. Oh,
Yeah,
that's just her maximizer popping up. She's not trying to tick me off. That's just her. She's just using her maximizer strength,
right.
And this person, my oldest daughter, when I discovered that she was a high strategic thinker, meaning she needs her alone time and her downtime to think, and she's doesn't get that with her kids.
Yeah.
So I did not understand that. I did not know that about her. So it was a big epiphany for me, and I really helped me understand more why she's stressed, or like, oh my God, like she's not getting what she needs.
Right. Or how you can actually support and help her.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Because you think, oh, I'll babysit so that you can go out to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
But that isn't actually what she needs.
Right,
Needs
exactly.
quiet, alone, solitude time. But how
Yes.
would you know that? You would, just
Exactly.
go on thinking, oh, well, this is the norm. This is what people need. Or this is what
Yes.
I need. Therefore, everyone else needs that.
Right, right,
Really, I mean, we're
right.
selfish. All we know is ourselves. So
Mm-hmm.
that's where we're pulling all of our information from.
Right. And we just assume everybody else thinks like us,
Right.
and they don't.
They do not. They do not. I was slapped in the face with that about 17 years ago. I thought, oh, that's why. That's why.
Right. So just having these tools, these assessments to improve ourselves, yes, that's wonderful. But just to give us clarity and awareness, and like I said, languaging and the permission to um, not get down on ourselves for certain attributes or
Right.
traits. And so there's so many positives about either one of these assessments that are only going to enhance anybody's life, and
Right.
to really dig into it. Don't just take the assessment, either one, and look at it and like, oh, that's really nice. Like really embrace it, understand it. I'm sure we both love, love, love digging into other people's reports and
Oh
results and helping them like shine a light on their
yeah.
strengths. And it's just so, I absolutely love it. And it's so empowering for everybody involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I did a leadership training for three hospitals here in town. So three different hospitals came together, and I think the best part, at least for them, was when, because everybody's sitting in rows and I'm
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
and telling people. But at some point, I had them all stand in the corners of the room or along the wall for their disc
Okay.
profile.
For their
Right?
letter. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And then I stood in the middle and I said, see these people over here, talking to the people on the opposite side. I said, you two are opposites. And
Mm,
this is why there's conflict, there's confusion,
mm,
there's there's frustration, right? You'll need to remember that you're speaking to these people and you need to change the way you speak, and you'll also
mm.
need to do the same. And actually, that the feedback that I received from it was 4 hours long, but
Wow.
well, that was one of their favorite things, was visually being able to see where everyone was, because they could look next to themselves and say, oh yeah, that's why. And they could look across and say, oh yeah,
Mm,
that's why.
mm,
Right. And so all these things came to them, and to be able to live in that for a minute was really helpful. It was
mm,
really great for them. They loved it. And I loved it, but of course I don't work with them, so I don't
yeah.
know their dynamic, but it really helped
Hmm.
them figure out why. And it made sense of things for them. And
Hmm.
yeah, it was good.
Yes. So within a group, like I said, it's great for your own individual use, but
Right.
in a group, whatever that group is,
Right.
family, peer group, whatever,
Company.
job related team. Yeah, yeah,
It's
so,
eye-opening.
it's eye-opening. Yes, thank you. It's so eye-opening. And if everybody in the world knew
I know.
more about themselves
Yeah.
through these assessments or something else that's out there, our world would be such a better place because we would have understanding and acceptance of other people instead of shaming them for something that comes naturally to them.
Right, right, right. Or taking it as a direct threat,
Correct.
right? Like you're
Correct.
insulted, you're upset, but in reality, that person may have been reaching out to you in their most
Mm,
authentic way.
right.
And
Right.
you are like, why would anybody ever say that to me like that? Or why
Right.
would somebody not say anything to me?
Right.
It depends
Right.
on where you are. So yeah,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it. Well, you and I both love it. We're just like,
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So I so appreciate your willingness to get on and chat with me and speak from
absolutely,
these two different perspectives, which were so similar. It's
absolutely.
just, which direction or which one you want to step into. And you might want to experiment with them both and see what really resonates with you. So thank you so much. So appreciate you and
Thank
what you're
you.
doing out there in the world and just contributing to the healing of the world using
Wow.
your discs and your leadership and team building and storytelling skills. So thank you. And
Thank you. It's
with
always a
this,
pleasure to chat with you.
yeah, with this, thank you. And with this recording, we will throw in the description how you can get a hold of Stacy if you want to reach out to her and check out the disc. And of course, mine will be there if you want to hear more about the whole strengths concept and the Gallup assessment concept. So feel free to connect with either of us or follow us on your major platforms.
That's right. And again, just like the personality assessments, you're not going to hurt either one of our feelings if you choose the
Right.
other, because
Correct.
it's a matter of what type of package are you looking for?
Hmm.
Which one resonates with you? So, do you want the Teresa package or do you want
Right.
the Stacy
I love that.
package?
The Teresa or the Stacy package? Which one?
We're
Or
wrapped
again, or
differently.
right, right. Or try them both and see which one you want to go with.
Exactly. Exactly.
All
Yeah,
right. Thank you
great.
so much, my friend. So appreciate
You.
you. And thank you for everybody who's watched this. You guys take care. Bye-bye.